The Rebel Capitalist Show.
I joined the Marine Corps. I went to fly in Vietnam. And that was the best. You know, it was horrible at times. You know, your best friends don't come back. I was a carrier pilot, so there are times you stand on the deck and your friends don't return. You know, I mean, there's a loneliness that is beyond description. And then our job was a horrible job too. We had to kill people.
Yeah.
But always something good happens, and that's when my rich dad wrote to me and he said that Nixon had taken the dollar off the gold standard. So this was in like February 72, and he took off the gold standard August 15, 71.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, watch the price of gold. And then it was about 35 an ounce, and it was, I think in January or February, it was pushing almost $45. And that's what we were talking about earlier, the trend. You know, the trend was moving. So with that, my goofy co-pilot and I climbed in our helicopter. We became gold hunters. And we flew in and we came off the carrier, turned right, headed towards North Vietnam. And there was one problem. The gold mine we were after had already fallen into enemy hands. So we had to go in behind enemy lines. And this is not bullshit. I actually did all this stupid stuff. I went looking for gold, and we fly into this Viet Cong. They weren't Viet, you know, they was bullshit. You know what I mean? One day they're friends, next day they're not. Right. So we walk through this village, and I go up to this gold mine, and this little Vietnamese woman is selling gold. I wrote about my book Fake because it's when I tuned into our world, which is macroeconomics. You know, she turned me on, you know. So I'm standing in front of this little bamboo shack, and this woman's about 5'1". She's got red teeth. And my co-pilot and I, who are now business partners, we're unarmed because we didn't want to piss off the Viet Cong. You know what I mean? We said, hey, we come as capitalists, not as Marines, you know. And we're negotiating for gold. And the trouble is, back in 72, it was illegal for Americans to own gold. I didn't know that. So she shows this little plastic vial, you know, and looked like little raisins painted gold. And I turned to my business partner, my co-pilot, and I said, is this gold? He says, I thought you knew. You know the feeling, right?
Right.
When you have an idiot for a business partner. So there were two idiots standing in front of this woman who's laughing at us because we're the big Americans with, you know, Yankee dollars, and we don't even know what gold is.
Right.
So we're standing there, and he said, I thought you knew what gold was. No, I thought you did. F you, you son of a bitch. I thought we're going to die today. You don't even know what gold is. You know? So that's how I became a gold bug. And that's how I got interested in macroeconomics, because that woman, I don't think she went to Harvard. You know what I mean?
Right.
I tried to knock her down from, I wanted to get the gold at about $42. She just laughed. She just laughed at me. She said, spot 48. I said, what's spot? And that's the price of gold all around the world in dollars every day of the year. I mean, she knew more about the macroeconomics of life, of the markets, than I did.
Yeah, she knew more about real money.
Yep. And that's what's, you know, we all you've had your wake-up calls. I've had my wake-up calls, you know. That's what I said. My middle name was Stupid. Well, I found out how stupid I was. And then we had to run back to our helicopter because my crew chief was screaming. And he was screaming. I thought, oh, God, we're going to die today. And I could see the NVA, you know, we'd be like this or get shot. And what happened was I parked my helicopter on a rice paddy. I didn't know it. And my damn helicopter was sinking.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, and so my little crew chief, he looked like Woody Allen, the little tiny guy. And he's holding up the tail boom. And he says, Lieutenant, we got to get out of here. We're going to sink. I said, so the pilots were bigger than the crew chief. So we get behind, we push on the tail boom. And the little crew chief jumps in, and he starts the engine. And all this mud starts to fly. And we're getting covered in mud, and we're rocking the tail boom.
Yeah.
Just get out of the mud, and it finally gets it into a hover, and we jump in and we fly back to the carrier, and we're covered in mud. The aircraft's covered in mud. Business partnership was dissolved, and we land back on the carrier, and everybody says, "Where the hell have you guys been? You know, this thing is completely covered in mud. We're covered." We said, "Don't ask us," and we ran back in. But that's where it started, George. And then the carrier sails into Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, I started looking for gold. Because you could buy gold in Hong Kong, but Americans couldn't buy it. That really twigged my brain. You know, I mean, it was curious.
Yeah.
So I found Krugerrand. I paid about $50 for it. I still have that Krugerrand today. You know, it's now worth about 2,000 or 1850 today. So that's how I understood money. Because gold is real money, God's money, and the U.S. dollar is fake money. That's what happened in '71 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. Today, you know, they're printing money like there's no tomorrow. There is. Can you believe that? And people are still trying to save money. I said, "Are you nuts?" So that's why in Rich Dad Poor Dad, I said, "Savers are losers. Your house is not an asset." And what else? I said, "Oh, yeah, rich don't work for money," and all those things. But we don't teach our kids anything about money at school. And when I retired at 47. Kim was 37. And I thought it best we give back what we learned. So I wrote this goofy little book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which was turned down by every publisher on planet Earth. They said, "You don't know what you're talking about." I said, and 2 years later, Oprah had me on her show.
Yeah.
It's just history. All of a sudden, I became a genius. So I went from stupid to genius.